The highlight for me definitely being watching Scott catch the Grand Fromage. He didn't even call it that, did he? He didn't even name it, did he? No. What other highlights has there been? Omar's, the Indian, that was nice. Yesterday's barbecue, that was nice. Tonight's barbecue was nice. Ice creams from Dan yesterday, they were nice. The ice creams that I got today, they were nice. Seeing Mark Coulson, that was nice. Seeing Bartlett catch a mid-30, that was nice. No personal things, like, no. I'm about the team.
Yeah.
The bigger picture, the greater good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did enjoy catching those 230s as well.
So for a long time, we've been trying to get as many of the guys together as possible to get out and go fishing. Plans were put in place for us to fish on the shallow pit, a really, really special water, and to be honest, we were all buzzing to get there.
Coming down here with the Fox lads, you know, it's always great when we get together. We never really get together as a whole, I suppose.
Especially to have Harry Pratt and Jim Wilson as their two new consultants to the Fox team for this year.
Unfortunately, Chile can't make it. A little bit gutted. He was due to arrive this morning, but he wasn't feeling too good, so he decided it probably best for him not to come, but we wish him all the best, and we'll see him soon, and we'll sort another session out for him anyway. Hughes is absent. He's off doing some filming somewhere.
So yeah, coming down fishing with the boys, I mean, epic venue, epic lads, you know, epic lads? Epic lads?
Yeah.
We'll just go with that one. Epic lads.
First things first, we needed to do a draw. So at this point, I said, Mozza, do you mind just doing a little bit of presenting for me? You know, the sort of professional guy that he is, I thought he'd know exactly what he was doing.
Right, so just about to do the draw with the boys in the background here. How it's gonna happen is there's 8 pegs inside the bucket at the moment. We're going to draw out for each swim. How many have we, it is 8, isn't it? Is there 8 pegs?
You need 2 hands for that, Lee.
Yeah, both hands.
5 and then 3 fingers.
1 after 7, just before 9.
There is 8 pegs though, isn't there?
There's 8 pegs in the app, yeah.
Right, so just about to do the draw. Lads are in the background here. We've got 8 swims in the bucket at the moment. We've got Jim and Pitchers that we're going to draw for, who are turning up a little bit later on. So yeah, 8 in the bucket at the moment. Who's drawing first? Scott's already drawn, by the way, so the captain, yeah, full rank. So yeah, Scott's going down in beaches right up the other end where there's loads of fish, so he'll definitely blank. And then we've got Tom about to draw out first. No? Harry's going to go first. Height order.
Smallest to the tallest, your last Mozza.
And he's got...
Right car park.
Ooh, he's in the right car park. There he goes.
One of you two. Snags!
Pile of fish.
Oh mate, you've had one already.
Right, me up next. They're folded, Lewis.
You got 2.
Sluices.
Need a boat.
Yeah, get the boat. Oh, we'll need a boat. I fish with a boat. No, I said I'm next to him.
Unsurprisingly, the prima donna that is Mark Pictures turned up late, and he managed to walk into probably at this time of year one of the best swims on the lake.
5 hours it took me to get here. This morning. Yeah. I was in the middle of a hot police pursuit as well. That was exciting. Didn't speed the journey up anymore though, but it was, relieved a bit of boredom. I am quite happy with my peg. Yeah, to say when I was a matchman, I could never draw a good peg. I just could never draw a good peg. And when I knew there was going to be a draw for swims, I thought, oh well, that's me in no hope corner sort of thing. And did Lewis do the draw on my behalf, did he?
Yeah. It's Mark Pictures now. How are you?
Would you rather?
Raffles, man.
So this is probably the best peg I've ever drawn. I didn't even draw it myself, so I still haven't drawn a good peg really, have I?
No.
But no, when he rang me, I thought he was actually winding me up. So yeah, I'm really happy. I think it's where everyone would have wanted to have been, seeing the forecast for this week. Temperature's meant to get up to 20 degrees on Thursday. I think a lot of the fish were going to be down this shallow end of the lake. Everyone would want it to be in here. I think it's just going to get better and better as the week goes on.
Well, we've just come into Lee's peg, and
Not only can't he fish, he can't even rig a rod up. He's got the
he can't even get the line for his rings. What a muppet!
yeah, he's all twisted up. Lee, I don't know what. Come on, Lee, sort this out. Get out
Harry
your
and
pop-up house.
Rob had to take you down Raysbury and show you how to feature find and bait up properly. You still can't even rig your rod up.
With everyone getting set up, Harry Pratt made no mistake in taking advantage of the fish that were showing in a swim just to his left. With a short underarm cast, a hinge stiff rig and a bright pop-up, he was the first to get some action.
There we go. First one in the bag. We'll take that for starters. Well, what an absolute cracker. I was just getting settled for the evening, getting some food on the go, and I see a fish trying to swim to my left, so with it being vacant, I thought I'd get a rod on it straight away, and half an hour later, this beautiful fish was the result. This is heaven, this place for me. I absolutely love coming here. It's one of them places that I've sort of kept to myself a little bit, to be honest. I've not really advertised a lot of the fish that I've had from here. I've sort of kept this place sort of close to my heart, I suppose.
I think you had your camera on me when I picked my swim out and give it a bit of the old Ali G. I don't know what it's called, one of them finger slap things.
Yes! What have we got? Left-hand car park / the point.
It's one of my favourite areas on the lake. It's great, it's really intimate. You can just fish nice slack lines, close in, a little bit of bait, just setting a little trap. You're not fishing for a big hit, you're just picking off fish. So yeah, I was happy. I mean, there's a small set of snags in this swim, and I know from this lake over the years that any bit of cover, the fish are like magnets to it, especially with a bit of angling pressure, because they're not used to seeing, I don't know how many people were on at the busiest time this week, but probably close to 27 rods in the water maybe. And again, that's not the norm for here, so any swim on here with a bit of cover, you'd fancy your chances of having fish in your swim.
So the swim that I'm in, yeah, I didn't even go in a draw, to be honest. It's a decent swim, it's got pretty good form at this time of year. I'll be brutally honest, it was either this or a swim that we call left duffers. Harry's in that, no pressure Harry. That will do a big fish this week.
It did not.
Don't laugh, because it will do a big fish this week.
It didn't.
I do think I've got a good chance in here. There's a couple of fish here at the moment, but the fish are well spread around the whole of the lake. I have said to a few of the guys that I'm pretty confident that every swim in the lake's going to do a bite. I don't know whether they actually believe me on that, but I'm still confident that's the case. So I think everyone's in for a really good shout. We're well spread out, and yeah, hopefully he'll do a couple for me here.
It was a bit of a surprise when Mozza was the next to bank a fish, and I've got to hold my hands up, it was an absolute worldie.
Put it there, Mozza.
Cheers, dude. Nice. I'm gonna put that out with the boat, H. I fish with a boat. Yes. Yeah. Oh, mate, I can't believe I've caught Black Beauty. My mate Dean Watson had named this fish, and I've always wanted to catch it when he named it. Oh, yes.
I'm happy. It's a nice fish.
Cheers, Bart. Cheers for welling up for me, Mr. Bastard.
We'll all shed a tear around a bit.
Yes! Oh, I can't believe it. Right, let's get it weighed, and then I'm going to drop the rod back out. I fish with a boat. Hey. Yeah, I am proper buzzing, mate. Yes. Yes. Get in there. 6, yeah, 31.6. Yes, yes. What a carp. Right. Ah, yes. Look at that for an awesome, incredible creature, the Black Beauty. Yes, she's finally mine. Oh, what a carp. See this one years ago and been dreaming to catch it ever since. I'm blown away, absolutely blown away. What an incredible creature. This is definitely what it's all about. Yes! Mwah! What a fish.
First light bite. Just sat here, moaned one on in true style, and yeah, we're into a carp. Nice one, first one of the session for me. After seeing what Lee caught last night, mega fish. Yeah, so really nice to get into a fish. Ooh. One in the bag. Oh yes, I'm proper chuffed to get off the mark. And what a lovely fish, as Lee would say, buzzing. This is where I've just caught that carp from. I've just walked round the little bay, and there's a bush here. There's like a canopy that is above the water. Underneath it is clear, so they've obviously been feeding there. But just to the side of it, there's a bit of a branch that's going in. Clear, obvious feature. I'm chucking from my peg across, but it's easier just basically to walk around and throw it in by hand, get it nice and tight up against the canopy of the tree. You wouldn't want to be like spodding up against this, so I'm going to put some, I've just got a few mixed pellets, and a tin of sweet corn. Just gonna put this down there now. Not too much bait, only fishing for a bite, and then go back round, chuck the rod back out.
With bark back fishing, the morning feeding spell continued, and Harry put his second fish on the bank.
£30, 12. Well, what a great start to the session for me. £30 of really long, angry male mirror carp. I'm starting to get a little bit twitchy because the fish have been showing down my end all through the night, and young Harry had one quickly, then he had another one this morning, but literally just as his one went in the net, I got the bite. And this one came in like a bream, really easy, and yeah, really happy. Hinge rig, white pop-up, only 4.5 wraps out over a scattering of boilies, and yeah, I've now actually got to reel in and go into London for a day working in the city, but I'm going to be back later on this evening, get the rods back out for tonight.
Tell me something new. Tell me something I already know about you. Could be something old, could be something new. I just want to know something new about you.
What did I catch? Well,
I just want to know something new about you.
Yeah. So I didn't think I'd fish for the carp. To be honest, I'm spending too much time filming. So yeah, just a standard bed of 16mm krill. You know what most bream anglers use. Hinge stiff rig, 16mm pink pop up. You know, standard bream tactics, and had a nice brace of doubles. So made up with that. Yeah, can't wait to catch some more tomorrow night.
Tell me something I already know about you.
Look at that. That is just horrible.
Could be something old, could be something new. I just want to know something new about you. I just want to know something.
Approaching it is the same way I always do when I come up here, just put lots of bait out anywhere. But yeah, I mean, in the past it's been quite weedy here, so I just found 2 spots leading about, and then I went and got the boat. I fished with a boat because I see Scott out in the boat. I thought, right, game on, get the boat. And then yeah, had a result off of that boat rod. I'm gonna blank now, definitely. Rest of the session's over. I couldn't care less, to be honest. I'm catching that fish is, yeah, you know, if I can catch one fish out of here, then I'm happy. That's me done in my eyes. So yeah, job done, to be honest with you.
Something new about you. Something new about you. About you.
I decided to go into the session mainly using hinge stiff rigs. They're a rig that I take pretty much anywhere, and this time of year especially when the fish are just waking up, it makes stuff a lot easier knowing you can cast a rig anywhere you like and it'll be presenting well. So the chod section itself is made out of 25-pound rigidity, and then the hook is a stiff rig big point hook, which I use size 5. Some people use a smaller hook, but personally I like to use the biggest hook I can get away with in most situations, just to give me that reassurance when I'm playing the fish that it's going to hit the back of my net. Then my boom section depends really. If I know I'm fishing over a clear bottom, Ideally I'll use Illusion 20 pound just because I know that will sit out straight perfectly, and I think the stiffness of the Illusion just helps the hooking potential of the rig improve slightly. But if it's a little bit silty or there's a little bit of debris on the bottom, my favourite is probably the semi-stiff Camotex, because like I say, that's fairly like tangle resistant, always kicks out, so if you do get done by a fish, it's going to reset itself and you're always going to be presenting well. With bream being a bit of a problem at the minute, I decided to predominantly use boilie. I've put in a bit of live system and a bit of Odyssey Triple X just to give the fish a bit of different bait, something different, give me a couple of different hook bait options as well if I do want to use a matching food-based pop-up, or even try a bottom bait if the pop-ups don't work. But so far so good. I'm quite confident fishing over the bait I'm fishing over, and I think anytime over the next few days, if the fish do switch on, I'll be in with a bit of action hopefully, and like I say, hopefully a slightly bigger fish.
To be honest, the day was pretty quiet. The fish never actually ended up getting down Pitchers and Scott's End, and so they were just going to have to wait and see if the fish would turn up the following day. With the day drawing to a close, we became pretty aware that a social doesn't really become a social until you have a big stinky takeaway. So we had a big stinky takeaway. Bart made a swift exit from the takeaway that evening. He had a sneaking suspicion that a bite was on the cards, and to be honest, he was right. And he landed an absolute belter. But success didn't come without complete disaster.
How'd you feel, Bart?
Emotional.
The only thing that softens the blow is the fact that you've landed the fish.
Yeah, if I didn't have a
Slapping up the tree.
if I didn't have a mid-30 in the net, then I would be hacked right now.
Yeah?
Well, yeah.
It's still annoying
Yeah.
knowing all them.
Yeah, you've just booted my swivel pot on the floor.
Out the way, Moss. No one's going to help him, are they? So I'll better help.
Oh, look at Thomas getting in for the rescue.
Teamwork makes the dream work, Moz. You wouldn't know about that because you're a selfish person.
F***ing right.
No, don't swear, we're on film. Right, pass me that. Where's he got a light bar, like a big light?
Look at Tom, the hero of the day. Harry switches the old red button on and Tom's all over it. Oh, get me in on the action. Get me in on the action.
Hell, brother-in-law, it's what family does, Lee.
You're all over it, family. Yeah, all right, Tom.
Look at this, ain't that?
Probably the highlight of your session this time, innit?
Then pick up a fat.
Yeah, it's only picked up your fat.
1,000 scale. It's 1,000 swivels.
You just, I'll tell you what you could use.
A magnet.
magnet.
Yeah, on the back of that thingy there is a magnet.
What, on the back of it?
Yeah.
He's always innovative.
I'll tell you what, that is some product placement there.
If ever there's a reason to buy a Fox light, it's for disasters like this.
Let me.
That's why Bart's got 3 of them.
Yeah.
That's a proper bit of problem solving.
Oh yeah. Let's have a look, Tom. What are you doing?
Got 5 bars of magnetic strength on that as well.
Sweet.
How about that? Absolute brute. £34 on the nose. Yeah, caught off my little tree down there. I've had an absolute nightmare. Not before the fish, but afterwards. Trying to get the rod back out. Lee's kicked me swivel pot over. You did. You did. Your attitude was near it. So I've lost all my rig rings, all my little swivels, all my beads, everything. And then I cast in the tree, and Scott's going to kick off because I'm going to have to go and get my rig out the tree tomorrow. But yeah, the rod's back in place now. We can show you this one, but it doesn't matter what happens now anyway because I've caught this one, and this one's an absolute belter. Made up. Just going into the second night of the trip. Yeah, 34-pounder, absolute chunk. rod length of line on the reel now. So that's out the snag, so I can chill. Oh, yeah, made up. I mean, we had that big one last night, and that wasn't really the sort of so-called bite time. The bite time's been first light, and I woke up and I was just watching the water, put the kettle on, wallop, got the old double bleep. She was on. The line that I'm using for this is 23 Panex a set, and to be fair, when I said I was having a nightmare last night, I was fishing for squirrels on one of the casts, and I actually think I pulled the tree over trying to get my rig back out. It was ridiculous. I think if I'd have let go of the rod, I reckon I could have catapulted it like 50 yards. And yeah, I've never pulled line like that before, ever. It was ridiculous. So yeah, so if you're looking for a line, I can literally, oh yeah, that's nice, it's just swam around a big branch. Okay, so it's here. Yeah. I thought it was behind the coot's nest. That's that stick. Come on, baby. She's in. I thought it actually was the other side of the coot's nest, but yeah, it was alright. But what I was saying was about the line. So that's just brushed into like a branch and a coot's nest and that, and no problem, just drag the branch in with it. It's fine. But yeah, it's a good fish actually. It's not bad.
Well, that was an out of the blue bite. Gone through the bite time of yesterday morning with nothing occurring, although a few fish were showing, but off my other rod, sort of 40 yards out, whereas this one's only 20 yards out. But yeah, it's just, say, gone off out the blue, and the fish I hooked yesterday came in like a bream. It was in the net in 30 seconds, whereas this one is absolutely tearing about and trying to pull my arm off. So yeah, hopefully it's a good one. Well, we've just got a glimpse of it, and it looks like a linear, and a particular linear in here that sort of goes between 39 and 41 pounds. I actually caught it last spring, and it rucked like mad then, and it was in my head a little bit that it could have been that because of how hard it was fighting. I was just hoping it wasn't, because you don't want to get a repeat, but if it's a 40 pounder, then I'll not complain. Yeah, it's definitely one that they call the prehistoric linear. See if we can lead her in on a line now. Straight into the net. Come on, baby. Here she's in the net.
Yeah, got it, mate.
Happy days.
Good.
Cheers, mate.
Well, look at that.
That is a fat mirror carp. It's the prehistoric linear. Prehistoric linear, mate, and it looks fat as
The prehistoric linear. An awesome old scaly character, really cool creamy belly on him, and an upper 30 to boot. It was really, really cool for everyone to come and share in the moment, just enjoy the fact that one of our mates has caught a really, really cool carp.
reminds me of like Yateley car park back in the day. Everybody's brought their hooking mats with them just to make sure it doesn't go on the floor. Tails here, little nudge. Well, that's the culprit, a fish they call the prehistoric linear, 37 £, 4 ounce. Gave an almighty battle, caught on a hinge again with a white pop-up. I'm not going to keep it out of the water too long because the sun's beating down. What a great fish to catch. My second of the session. It's going great for, I think 4 of the guys have caught now, so fun times. It's quite a rare spot in this lake because it's actually a shallow area, or an area that's raised with deeper water around it. The bottom's pretty uniform, and normally when you find gravel, the depth doesn't actually vary. It's just a seam of gravel surrounded by silt. However, from this swim, there's just one little gravel hump, and you've got 8 foot of water, and then it comes up on the top. It's 5 foot, and then it drops back down again to the swim. And it's at such close range, and not, I don't know, probably 15-20 yards away from the snags. So as the fish come in and out of the snags, there's a sort of natural sort of island, underwater island if you like, where they've sort of passing over. And yeah, the bites come on that. It's rock hard gravel. When the lead goes down, it really cracks down hard. And yeah, like I say, I've just been putting a few baits on top of that, and then hoping when the fish swim over it, there's just a nice little buffet there for them to have a feast. Naked line straight through, 23 pound extra set straight through, just a couple of blobs of putty. The water's very clear on here, and at close range I wanted to try and sort of be as sort of invisible as possible. Lead clip setups, like I said, there are some snags about, and on both sides of my swim there is sort of places that the fish could get into, so it's important to drop the lead. And then hinge stiff rigs with semi-stiff booms on the rods that I've got on the hard gravel spots, and then I've got a rod that's in softer silt and over low-lying weeds, so I've gone for a Camotex soft boom on that, and quite a long one, so that the pop-up rests on top of the weed, a bit like a chod rig would, but with the benefit of it being on a lead clip. White pop-ups, and then literally no more than between 20 and 40 boilies on each rod, just washed out boilies again. Whether it makes a difference, I don't know, but I know a lot of the members on this lake bait very heavy, maybe not when they're fishing, but when they leave, they put a lot of boilies in. It's very kind of boilie dominated water, it has been for many years, and I think the fish are used to coming on the bait after it's been in for a few days, so I took the decision to use washed out bait, and it's done me a few bites, but then, you know, some of the guys who aren't doing that are catching fish as well. So, but again, it's just what you're confident with.
The temperatures really did climb that day, upwards of 25 degrees, and needless to say, the majority of the lake stock was really enjoying the weather. But despite them sunbathing, they really weren't playing ball, and no more bites were forthcoming that day. Unfortunately, it was time for both Pitchers and Tom to leave. Mark being Mark, he wanted to leave with some powerful and meaningful words. Unfortunately, he just couldn't find them.
What rhymes with blank? Can't think of anything. Initially, when I got in this peg, I thought, okay, it doesn't look great right now, but tomorrow is going to be bang on. They're going to get down here, it's going to warm up, they're definitely going to get down here. And the next day, I thought, right, okay, so they're not here, but that's okay, because tomorrow it's going to warm up even more, and they'll definitely get down here. And now I'm looking at it thinking, well, they're not here yet, but maybe tomorrow, if it warms up a bit more, they don't always follow the rules, do the carp? Yeah, there's fish, there's a few fish in the trees, a lot of fish in them trees, opposite, a lot of fish. And the odd one sort of ventures out as a bit of a dart about a bit and then just goes off somewhere or goes back in the trees, but they're certainly not stopping in open water for any length of time. They're sort of darting out the trees, chasing about a bit, then going back in or going out the swim.
Have you enjoyed your
little session with everyone?
I have actually. That's the main reason I came
Say
down.
it.
I can say that now.
Yeah, but say it.
Okay. Well, you want me to actually
say it.
That's like when your missus says, "I love you," and you're, "Yeah, me too." And she goes, "Well, say it then." Well, I sort of just did, really, isn't it? But no, even though it's been a blank, I've absolutely loved it down here. It's been great to see everyone, and that's what it was. It was a consultant social. That's what it's been. I've probably spent more time in other people's swim than my own swim, but no, I've loved it. It's been great.
Right, we'll wave goodbye.
Bye-bye. Am I waving over there where I'm pretending you are, or am I waving to the camera? Am I still waving in open space?
Wave everywhere.
Okay. The Thursday morning was busy. Bart had one, then another one. Lewis had one. Even I had one. But best of all, they had turned up down Scott's End in the shallows and he had had a result.
Pretty sleepless night. I had 2 bream, 2 tench, a small stocky at 14, and this one in the net. It was a rather large cheese. But Mark went home yesterday and there was some fish in the bay to my left here, so I put a bait towards them, and that's what did that fish this morning. So cheers Mark, thanks for going home, see you later.
Shark, innit?
That is big. That is
What is it, Harry? I can't see it.
12. Good luck.
Wait for April.
Fish.
Check me out then.
Kiss me.
Oh. So here she is, one of the Lakes 18, 41.12. Pretty decent weight for this time of year. Yeah, well happy with that one. We think we saw this yesterday, circling over in that corner there. Obviously stayed around for the night. And yeah, this morning, here we go. As I said, the area that I'm chucking singles into in this corner, it's quite silty. Well, it's very silty to be honest with you. There's quite a lot of clay in the area and that's what the fish are always rubbing in, but it is quite soft all around that area. So I'm just fishing our heli drop-off beads. I've got the top bead about, for that rod in the chucking down towards the corner, I've got that top bead about 16, 18 inches up. I've got a tiny little stiff rig on it. It's pretty clear out there. There's some soft flossy weed out there, nothing that's going to hinder any kind of presentation. So yeah, the top bead 16 to 18 inches up, little tiny stiff rig, like a boom section's only like 3 inches long, 4 inches long, and then a little pop up like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. just on a 12 milli. Yeah, and that top bead is just ensuring that the very short hook length is not getting dragged into the sill. Yeah, I'm fishing a 3 or a 4 ounce lead on this particular setup. I'm fishing it with the little PVA stop just so I lose the lead. You have to fine tune them a little bit because of the plastic coating on the swivels, so I just shave a little bit of the plastic coating off just so I can get the right amount of tension, because I want the fish to be picking it up, and as it bangs its head or it bolts away, I want that lead to come off. I just want to play them away without any lead on the setup, so just a little PVA stop through it. As soon as the fish picks up the bait and gives it a little bit of shake or bolts off, the lead's coming free. It means I'm in direct contact with the fish, and yeah, seems to have done the trick so far.
It's moments like that that make carp fishing as great as it is. Sharing moments with your mates when they catch a big un, everyone congratulating him, everyone really happy for Scott that he'd caught one of the A team, no bitterness, no jealousy, just mates in awe of a really special carp. So up until the third day, Bart had a pretty mega session, but unfortunately it was time for him to leave. I wanted to talk to Bart about the snag fishing that he had been doing, how he'd been doing it, and how he'd been doing it so successfully yet safely.
For me, like fishing to a snag, the number one priority really has to be the fish. You cannot endanger the fish. Now, whether that's, you know, going to put yourself in a position where you're not going to put the fish on the bank, just don't do it. You know, don't try and be a hero for the sake of it. Just fish in a spot where when you get a bite, that you can put that fish on the mat safe and sound, and fish to put it on the mat as well. You're fishing where they live, where they feel safe, and you have to do it safely as well. I'm using 23-pound line. My hook length is 25 pound. My hook is not gonna open up or straighten out. I'm using a proper hook, size 5, medium curve. And this is proper equipment, you know, proper gear for fishing this sort of way. And if you do take the correct steps and the right procedure in getting the rod into position, like even, I don't cast the rod out and then go and bait the snag. I bait the snag and then come back around and cast the rod out, because there's nothing to say that you wouldn't get a bite without any bait. You're fishing to the feature, you don't really need a lot of bait. So as soon as you put that hook bait into position, that is actively fishing. It's not, you know, you don't need any bait to almost get it fishing. As soon as that lead lands, the potential for a bite is there, even to the point where you're just setting your rod up properly so it's pointing directly at the snag as well. You do not want your rod at like a right angle to the snag, because by the time you get a beep or get registration on the indicator, that rod will bend in half almost, like round to the snag, and then you've given them 6-8 foot of line that they didn't have, and it could be game over. So point your rod directly at the snag, and then when you pick the rod up, I always just pick it up by the reel, hand on the blank a bit further up, just because this just locks the pressure on the rod, because when you just hold it by the reel like this, you can't actually feel how much pressure you're putting on. Once you obviously put the rod on the buzzer and it's facing the snag, tighten the line up the best you can without moving the lead as tight as possible, and then literally screw the clutch right down so you pretty much can't do it up anymore. Indicator on nice and tight, alarm on full sensitivity, and then that'll give you, you know, you're not looking for a take, you're looking for a beep. A couple of beeps just to let you know that something's on the end of there. So yeah, clutch tight, tight line, tight bobbin, full sensitivity, and then that rod is fishing perfectly. So as soon as you get an indication, you know that there's a fish on the end of it. You know, if you're doing the night, make sure that you sleep properly close to your rod. I'm no more than probably 4 foot away from my rod here. So when I get the bite, I can literally hop out my bed. I'm not zipped up, literally just got a throw over me. If I felt like I needed to zip the sleeping bag up because it was cold or something, I would be winding the rod in, because you're not then fishing safe, because by the time you get out of the bag, it's all over, and that's not the one. You just got to fish the whole setup. You know, you sit where you are, you do not leave your rod, whether your mate's got one in the next swim, or you've even to the point where you've just got to like nip to your van. My van's only like 15 yards away, but if I walk to my van to get a bucket out, if I had a bite, that's it, it's gone, chance is gone, you're risking the fish, don't do it. What I have done is I've used really long bank sticks, front and back, on their own, not a buzz bar setup or a pod, because this will either end up in the lake or it'll end up twisting, your rod will slide forwards and smash the buzzer. So long bank sticks, front and back, quite far apart so you can get your butt ring behind your buzzer. If you've got it behind your buzzer, you know, it can't slide up, because if your reel slides up and hits the buzzer, there's a chance that it could either damage the line and cut you off, and then, you know, then you've been snapped off. Whereas if you've just got the butt ring this side of the bite alarm, it can't go anywhere, so you're fully locked up, and it just works. So that's the way I do it, and in my eyes, that's the way it should be done.
Today I've hardly fished. I've let the fish just enjoy the sun, and I've been working, shooting content for a new edges project that working on with the consultants. Now I'm going into the last evening. Jim Wilson arrived a couple of days ago. He's not had a fish yet. He's moved swims today up to the shallows, and if I'm honest, if there's one more bite between us all to be had before we leave tomorrow, I'd like it to be Jim. So that we all of the guys who are still here at the moment have caught one. Another nice thing for this evening is Sean McSpadden. He's come down this evening. He's joined us for tonight. I've let him sort of double up with me. This swim I'm on is like a two-sided point, so Sean's fishing on the other side tonight, and we can have a nice social, and hopefully, you know, it'd be cool to see Sean get one as well. But you know, if there's only 2 bites to be had, then I'd like Jim to have one, and then me to catch a 40-pounder, please.
With the final morning came another flurry of bites. Lewis managed to hook a mid-double, completely mugged him off, took him round the corner, made him look like a bit of an idiot, got his feet wet, rolled up his shorts or whatever he was doing. Jim did catch, and it was an absolutely awesome scaly one. One of the originals too, so that was really nice, and a smudge over 20 pound. He was pleased as punch. So that morning, the first thing that I did do was walk round into Scott's swim. I was kind of expecting a repeat performance of the day before, something akin to that, and I got to his swim pretty early in the morning. For him to not have any rods in the water, just 2 slings and a net, and his rods were lent up against his bivvy, and he was fast asleep. So when he did eventually stir, he went on to tell me that he had caught a 28 and a brace of 30s. It was an awesome week, and to be honest, with the fun, laughter, banter, fish, enjoying both your own captures and other people's captures, for me, that's what carp fishing is about.